Hi, welcome to Anaprime Recap. Come closer and be dazzled, it's time for the dark stories of Yamishibai. We will start today's video with a short story called The Moon. A group of boys who are members of a high school baseball team are staying in an old lodge. It was already dawn and everyone felt extremely exhausted due to the hard training of the day. They start to comment that since Little League that place was the same, even the pit toilets haven't changed. Daisuke, who did not have a very pleasant face, said he doesn't remember this place. And the boys say that's not possible, because when he was a kid, he fell into the toilet of that same lodge and got the nickname Duki Suki, the stinky one. Daisuke then decides to get up and go to the bathroom. The place smelled awful, after all, it had a pit full of excrements right in front of it. The boy tries to remember what happened that day, while looking at the moon. He relives the fateful moment of his childhood. He was in the dark hole of the pit. He felt an evil presence around him, it was disturbing. Friends of his found him, and made fun of the poor boy that was trapped in that disgusting place. Now Daisuke remembered that trauma, and why he had erased it from his mind. However, he quickly realized that something was looking at him from inside the hole. Yeah, but it must be his imagination. Looking into the sink mirror, his childhood nightmare had returned. Something monstrous was coming out of the toilet. Let's move on then to the second story called Video. 3 middle school boys are reunited on the last day of summer vacation, trying to complete a huge amount of unfinished homework. One of them asks if his friends want to see a terrifying videotape his cousin lent him. The boys think the idea is excellent, and the boy takes from his backpack a very well-sealed videotape, covered in black tape. According to the boy, his cousin was testing his courage and saw things on the recording that he's sure he hadn't recorded. Anyway, they set the tape on, turn off the lights and play. First, they come across a cemetery. The boys notice that there is a shadow of a face near one of the headstones. They find it scary. The boys start teasing Takaaki, saying he's scared. But the boy points to the TV and asks if they're not seeing that. There is a huge creature in the image that Takaaki estimates is over 10 feet tall, standing far back in the cemetery. What could that scary thing be? But his friends say they can't see anything. When Takaaki turns to talk to the boys and turns his eyes back to the screen, the monster is gone. He quickly rewinds the tape, and, guess what, now the thing is gone. But to his surprise, only because it got even closer to the screen. Takaaki is in a panic looking at the TV screen and then the creature looks straight at him. Scared, the boy asks if his friend saw that. When he looks back, 2 horrible, giant monsters have appeared in the room. The third story is called Zanbai. A man wakes up with a broken leg in a hospital bed. He doesn't quite know where he is and tries to ask a group of elderly people in the corner of the room, but they seem unfriendly. A doctor appears saying the man slipped on the mountain trail and became unconscious. Lucky for him, he was found by a villager who was passing by. But despite the broken leg, very soon he would be discharged. What scares the man in all this is the group of mysterious elderly people who insist on staring at him in a frightening way. In the middle of the night he hears some whispers, and realizes that the men are talking about him, saying, "Don't let him get away." He notices a few shadows approaching, and the man closes his eyes, in a cold sweat, panicking. The next day, he was finally discharged from that scary place. At the top of the building, the 3 elderly men bowed with their arms and seemed to be saying the word, "Banzai," together, which would be a way of wishing someone good luck and prosperity. The man thought that perhaps those gentlemen were good people after all. He tells the taxi driver that the men are waving at him strangely as if they are celebrating. When the taxi driver looks in the rearview mirror he gets desperate. It was not Banzai, but Zanbai. A bow to death. He yells for the man to get out of his car. There was no way he could get out of that village alive. A truck comes at full speed against the taxi. His time has come. The elderly indeed saluted the approaching death. Our next dark story is called The Umbrella Goddess. A boy named Kenji went to visit his friend who had just moved to rural Japan. While they were talking quietly, Takeru's mother calls him to carry some watermelons, and Kenji is left alone, watching a strange couple with an umbrella at the bus stop, on a totally sunny day. Takeru comes back accompanied by his father, who is commenting that the climate changes abruptly in that region. Kenji replies that that's why just now there was a couple with umbrellas in hand. Takeru's father drops the bowl of watermelons and just says, "The umbrella goddess." Everything turned into chaos. Kenji was distressed without understanding anything. Takeru's mother asked her son insistently if he also saw the woman with the umbrella. Takeru's father, on the other hand, took Kenji to a shed and tells him not to open the door until dawn, under any circumstances, no matter who shows up. Kenji was alone in that creepy place and hears his friend's voice calling him. Takaru says he came to bring some snacks for him to eat. The boy opens the door and his friend apologizes for his father's exaggerated behavior, and then leaves. When trying to lock the door, the key is pulled from his hand and lands next to the salt. When he gets up, Takaru is back with a disturbing voice, telling Kenji to open the door. The protective salt placed on the door starts to evaporate. Kenji refuses to open it, and when he locks it with the key, an evil force starts trying to invade the cabin, screaming thousands of times for him to open the door. Kenji takes cover and tries to hold the door with all his might. All the salt evaporated in the morning. At dawn, he gets up exhausted and behind him appears the umbrella goddess. Our last story for today is called Hair. An elementary school teacher had to stay late at school finishing some activities. She had to use the copy machine, and at one point, when she pressed the button to start copying, the school bells rang. Which was really scary, since there was no one in the building at that hour. Well, when the first copy came out, there were some weird black lines on the paper. She opens the lid to see what happened and is startled by a head that pops out of the machine glass. But she ends up convincing herself that maybe it was because she was tired. Pressing the button again causes the machine to collapse. It starts printing non-stop several pages with the black lines again. More and more lines appeared. She tries to stop the machine and pulls the plug, and when she opens the lid again, she finds long black hair over its surface. The teacher has no reaction and sees that the hair moves by itself into the machine. She pulls out the paper feed drawer and there was nothing there. When she closes the lid of the machine, the ghost monster was there. For today our tales are over. Now tell me, which of these stories would you be able to escape? So what did you think of this anime? Leave it in the comments below. And if you like the video, like and subscribe for more anime recaps. See you next time.